Still tuned in to News and Views with me, Salalo Makudiri, and we'll be shifting the focus to South Africa and what's been happening here right at home. And we'll be diving into a pressing issue that continues to plague our society, the issue of racism in South African schools. Despite being 30 years into our democracy, we are confronted with a disturbing incidents that highlight how much work remains to be done to achieve true racial harmony. Recently, and I'm sure a lot of you might have seen it on social media, a video from a Cape Town school emerged showing students engaging in a mock auction of their black classmates, a scene that is both shocking and deeply unsettling. This comes on the heels of another controversy at Pretoria High School for Girls, where learners are demanding action against prefects involved in a racist WhatsApp group. In this group chat, derogatory comments and racial slurs were directed at black students, further exacerbating tensions within the school community. Joining us today to discuss this incident and the broader issues of racism in our education system is Hendrick Makaneta, a dedicated education activist. Hendrick has been at the forefront of advocating for equitable and inclusive education in South Africa, and we are honored to have him with us. Hendrick, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media.
Thank you very much indeed for having me.
I think first and foremost, just your thoughts on these recent incidents that has happened in Cape Town and also in Pretoria High School for Girls. What do you make of them? Why do you think 30 years into democracy, these are supposed to be born frees, these are supposed to be AMA 2000, the new young up and coming generation of South Africans that have never experienced apartheid, that know democracy and a free non-sexist, non-racist society that we all claim was built from the ashes of apartheid after 1994, but you still have things like this happening. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that the issue of race and of course racism is not being discussed enough. It's not given the necessary attention. We left everything to society. The fact that our constitution deals with the issue. If you look at the preamble, which says that, we, the people of South Africa, we live in a country which belongs to all of us, black and white. We don't really have dialogue on racism in schools country. That is why the issue will, in one way or the other, creep out from time to time. If you look at what has transpired at Pretoria Girls High School, there, the issue, in my view, requires more collaboration. Amongst learners, we need to be honest with ourselves, start to have dialogues on race, and let the students or the learners take a part in such. To just work with that discipline alone, or to have organizations matching to say, so and so should be suspended, does not necessarily mean the issue will die automatically because of those, actions. I think that we really need a conversation as South Africans, because in one way or the other, whether we like it or not, there is no dustbin for a human being. And, if you move a learner from one school to the next, it does not necessarily mean that their behavior will change. So we need alternative ways of addressing the issue.
And I think when a situation like this always happen, we always look at who could be held responsible. Who do you blame for this? Do you blame the school? Are they not aggressive when it comes to educating on inclusivity and being anti-racist, or do you take the blame to the parents? Because ultimately these learners come from homes and these are young people that absorb and reenact whatever they see from their homes. It's a monkey see, monkey do kind of situation. But who do you point a finger at? Is it both institutions, the parents, and the schools themselves, or there's one that we need to put a particular focus on and address?
the blame should be put squarely on the shoulders of the management of the school because they are the parents. In the absence of parents, teachers automatically become parents, and therefore, for the first time, you find this. It's a multiracial setting. Black and white learners converge into this home called a school where there are parents called the principal and the teachers. So, in such a setting, the management should have a way to deal with such issues to make sure that they integrate our learners. I've noticed something that sometimes when you even us as adults, when we go into a conference or any meeting where there might be blacks, whites, Indians, and so on, you might find that a group of whites tend to cling together, sit together. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. They sit together in a table, and you'll find that blacks are also sitting together in one other table. But I think that the management of the school should try and deal with such sitting arrangements to start with. In the classroom, the management should make it compulsory that, we must have a black and white learner sitting together in one desk and so on and so forth to avoid, this tendency. Like if you look at the WhatsApp group that was formed by the prefects there at the Pretoria High School for Girls, it's a group of white learners against black learners. So, but if you disintegrate them in terms of sitting arrangements, it can start there. But not only end there, you must have conversations with learners. They must learn to work together. Even at university level, some universities, such as the University of Pretoria, I remember in the early 90s, you'd find that they put white students in one block of a residence, and they put blacks in another block. That cannot be encouraged in my view. You need to integrate them. Let them sit together. Let them learn from each other's culture. I think in such a way, we can really deal with such issues as and when they emerge.
Mm-hmm. Does the South African basic education system have, correct policies and measures, in schools when it comes to sufficiently preventing and addressing racism, or is there need, for more robust interventions and the drawing up and the drafting and the training, of education, specialists and educators, and everyone that's involved in, a school system when it comes to addressing the issue of racism? Do teachers know what to do? Do principals know what to do? And are they equipped, with the right resources to address, racism in schools? Or, are they left to, try to figure it out for themselves, which ultimately, sees us dealing with what we're currently dealing with right now?
Schools are not adequately equipped to deal with the issues of racism. And the department as well does not have a very clearly defined policy. They just want, they don't really get into the bottom of the issues of the nitty-gritty, how to address it. They just talk about non-racialism, non-sexism, and so on. That is where it ends. Even the country, they'll say we need to build a non-racial, non-sexist society which is democratic. But that just ends there. In terms of the operational issues at school level, there is not sufficient, conduct from the department. Hence, the teachers also sometimes feel disempowered.
Mm, mm, mm. And when it comes to the students themselves, I think those that have been accused of this racist act, and the victims of the racism itself, what steps can be done into addressing both issues? Because you don't want another generation of young people growing up, with the mindset that's one of victimhood, but another one of being racist, and having no consequences for the actions, essentially. All right, we seem to have lost Mr. Hendrick there, but I think, yeah, we've gotten the gist of it, of racism in South African schools and just how ill-equipped our basic education system is when it comes to addressing the issue of anti-racism in our schools. You can give us a call 011-680-0355, or you can send us a WhatsApp 061-766-0355. What do you think is the best way to deal with a case of racism at school? First, coming into the victims of the racism themselves. How do you help them? But also the perpetuators of the racism. These are still young children. They're going up. They're going to grow up to be adults. How do you make sure that there's a shift in the mindset? They're educated on the dark history of South Africa and the consequences of apartheid that a lot of people of color in the country are still grappling with. And just to try and show them that whatever they're doing, whatever they're saying, and whatever they're being taught has such big ramifications, and a lot of people have lost their lives because of that kind of thinking. And also the victims themselves. How do you now talk to them, try to make them understand what happened, and try and help them to not grow up with the mentality of victimhood, which is what a lot of victims of racism ultimately start to have. You start questioning yourself, you start to feel like you are inadequate compared to your peers of other races. So yeah, give us a call. What do you think? Someone suggested a camp, a boot camp, for those that have perpetuated, the racism, and take them to that camp for whatever amount of time. Teach them about the gruesome and ugly history of South Africa, and if they want to be a part of that, maybe. Do you think would that help? Do you think inclusivity lessons for these kids, which I don't want to believe they are intrinsically racist. I feel like this is an education. This is something that they learned in their homes. Do you hold the parents accountable? Do you I don't know. I don't know. You can send us a WhatsApp and tell us what you think. Our studio line is 011-680-0355, or you can send us a WhatsApp on 061-766-0355. Another one. Have you ever been a victim of racism yourself? How did you react to it? How did it affect you? When it comes to your daily lives, and if you experienced it in school, did it stick with you? It would be really, really interesting. I think these are conversations that we need to have in South Africa, if we really going to achieve our goal of an all-inclusive, non-racist, non-sexist society that we always boast on having, and the tag of us being a rainbow nation ultimately becomes one that is not only a marketing tag, but it's a lived reality for all South Africans. Yeah, have you ever been a victim of racism? Hmm? X, have you? You have. I think you need to tell us your story about what happened, and ultimately how did you I don't know, beat it and try and find yourself and not have a victim kind of mentality. But if you have, I think give us a shout 061-766-0355. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see you right after this. You're still tuned into News and Views with Salilo Makwidiri.